They call it overthinking. They say you analyze too much, that you read into things that aren't there, that you need to stop thinking so hard and relax. But here is what they have never understood. You are not thinking at all. What they mistake for overthinking is perception operating at a level most people never access. It is not cognitive processing. It is not your mind spinning in circles. It is seeing. And seeing is not the same as thinking. Welcome to Power and Myth. A viewer recently made a distinction I have never heard articulated so clearly. They wrote, "Subliminal and subconscious are not overthinking. Thinking has nothing to do with it. It is seeing. That single insight changes everything. Because if the INFJ is not overthinking, but rather overperceiving, then the entire conversation shifts. This is not a disorder to manage. This is the seer's gift, and it is ancient. When most people engage with the world, they work with conscious data. They gather information deliberately. They weigh options. They think their way toward conclusions. It is sequential, linear, and visible to the thinking mind itself. And yes, sometimes people spiral in that process. They ruminate, they loop. That is overthinking. But when an INFJ lies awake at 3 a.m, unable to let something go, that is not rumination. That is perception trying to surface something already seen, but not yet consciously named. Your subconscious has processed the pattern. It has read the subliminal cues. It knows. And now it is attempting to bring that knowing into conscious awareness. The exhaustion is not from thinking too much. It is from perceiving too much whilst being told you are imagining it. People ask INFJs, how do you know that? And the INFJ struggles to answer, because the question assumes a cognitive pathway. It assumes you thought your way there, that you can show your work, and that there is a logical chain you followed from evidence to conclusion. But you did not think your way there. You saw it. The pattern was already complete. Your consciousness recognized what your perception had already processed at subliminal and subconscious levels. You cannot explain how you know the way. You cannot explain how you see the color blue. You just do. It is direct perception. Asking an INFJ to explain their knowing is like asking someone to explain the steps they took to recognize their mother's face. The recognition is immediate, whole, and unmediated by conscious thought. This is the seer archetype. Every culture has known this figure, the oracle, the prophet, the one who perceives what others cannot. They were never valued for their thinking. They were valued for their seeing. The oracle at Delphi did not analyze her way to prophecy. She saw. The vision came through her, direct and unfiltered, beyond the reach of conscious thought. The druids who read patterns in nature, the shamans who perceived the invisible world, the mystics who saw beneath the surface of things, none of them were overthinking. They were operating on channels of perception most people never access. And the INFJ operates on those same channels today. There are 4 channels of perception happening simultaneously in the INFJ mind. Most people operate consciously on 1, perhaps 2. The INFJ operates on all 4 at once. Channel 1 is surface data, the literal, the obvious, what is being said, what is being done. This is conscious perception, what people mean when they say pay attention. Channel 2 is subtext, what lies beneath the surface, tone, micro-expressions, and the shift in energy when certain topics arise. Most people catch this occasionally. The INFJ catches it constantly. You are reading emotional undercurrents and social dynamics that others miss entirely. Channel 3 is pattern. This is where perception becomes subliminal. You are not just seeing what is happening now, you are seeing how it connects to everything that came before. The person who says they are fine, but whose energy is off, you have seen this exact pattern 3 times before in this same person. You know where it goes. You know what it means. You are perceiving time differently. Past, present, and future collapse into a single coherent structure, and the pattern reveals itself. Channel 4 is an archetype. This is the deepest channel, operating almost entirely in the unconscious. You are not just seeing this person's pattern, You are seeing the archetypal structure they are living out, the myth they are enacting, the story that has been told 10,000 times before. You recognize the wounded healer who refuses to heal, the hero terrified of the journey, the exile who keeps creating the conditions for their own banishment. This is why you sometimes know how someone's life will unfold before they do. You are not predicting the future, you are seeing the pattern complete itself. Imagine you are in a conversation. An ordinary person is processing channel 1, the literal words being spoken. Perhaps channel 2 if they are paying close attention, the tone, the mood. You are processing all 4 channels simultaneously, what they are saying, what they are not saying. How this connects to the pattern you have watched them repeat for years. The archetypal myth they are living that they cannot see. No wonder you are exhausted. You are not overthinking. You are overperceiving. 4 streams of data are flowing in at once, and you are expected to pretend you only see what everyone else sees. You are expected to ignore 3/4 of what you actually perceive and act as though the surface is all there is. And here is the shadow side that rarely gets spoken. When you see things others cannot see, you become lonely in a way that is structural, not situational. You see the patterns playing out. You see people walking toward pain they could avoid if they would simply listen. You see systems collapsing under the weight of their own contradictions. And most of the time, no one wants to know. They would rather stay comfortable, rather remain unconscious, rather call you crazy than face what you are showing them. This is the seer's burden, to see and not be believed, to know and be dismissed, to carry the vision alone. The loneliness is not because you are broken, it is because seeing what others cannot creates a permanent gap between your experience and theirs. You are reading a text they cannot perceive. You are watching a film that they do not know is playing. And when you try to explain, they think you are making it complicated, reading too much into things, imagining problems that do not exist. But you are not reading into anything. You are reading what is already there. They simply cannot see it. The seer was always both valued and feared, because seeing what others cannot is power, and power makes people uncomfortable. You see through masks, you see the patterns they are denying, you see where they are headed before they do. So they pathologize it. They call it overthinking. They tell you to relax, to stop analyzing, to just be normal. But you are not meant to be normal. You are meant to see. That is the gift. And it has been carried by seers and oracles and prophets for thousands of years. What you are experiencing is not new. It is initiation into an ancient lineage. So what do you do with this? How do you live as someone who sees when the world insists you are only thinking? First, stop calling it overthinking. Stop apologizing for it. Stop trying to turn it off. You are not broken, you are perceiving. And perception is not a flaw. When someone says you are reading too much into this, what they are actually saying is, I cannot see what you see, and that makes me uncomfortable. That is not your problem to solve. Your task is not to shrink your perception to make others comfortable. Second, trust what you see, even when you cannot explain it, even when no one else sees it, even when it makes you look strange. Your perception is not less valid because it is subliminal. It is not less real because it is subconscious. It is not less accurate because you cannot show your work. The seer does not need external validation. The vision is its own proof. Third, find the others who see because they are out there. Not everyone is blind. Others are operating on these same channels. Others who perceive pattern and archetype. Others who know without thinking. And when you find them, you do not have to explain. You do not have to justify. You simply know. They see it too. That is what this community is, a gathering of seers, people who understand that thinking and seeing are not the same thing. People who have been told their entire lives that they are too intense, too complicated, too much, who are finally learning that they are not too much at all. They are exactly what the world needs, even if the world does not yet know it. And here is the final piece. Learning to trust your perception and truly own the vision is a journey. It does not happen overnight. One viewer mentioned it takes about 20 years to reach sovereign self, to arrive at the point where you no longer doubt what you see, where you no longer need external validation, where you stand in your perception with absolute certainty. 20 years sounds right. Because sovereignty is not just accepting the gift, it is learning to wield it, to discern when to speak and when to stay silent, to know the difference between the vision and your own shadow, to understand that seeing is not the same as knowing what to do with what you see. That is the path of the seer, and you are on it. So the next time someone tells you you are overthinking, know this. You are not thinking at all, you are seeing. Subliminal, subconscious, pattern and archetype. 4 channels of perception operating simultaneously. That is not a disorder, that is the seer's gift. And it is ancient, sacred and necessary. The world needs people who see, who perceive what lies beneath, who recognize the patterns before they fully manifest. The world needs you. Thank you to the viewer who made the distinction that inspired this video. Thinking has nothing to do with it. It is seeing. That changed everything. If something in this video named what you have carried in silence, I want to hear which moment landed hardest. Tell me in the comments. Which channel of perception exhausts you most? Do you recognize yourself as the seer? And if you want to continue exploring the strange and beautiful territory of being an INFJ through the lens of myth and archetype, subscribe. You are part of something here. This is Power and Myth, where your depth is not too much. It is exactly enough. Until next time, find your power, know your myth.